the news. Um, and yeah, I decided to not respond specifically because of the ongoing, right? Like, I was surprised to see even like the news, as it be the news program that is, I don't know how, I haven't watched from other countries, but from where normally they do, I don't know, maybe a quarter or less on one specific subject, and then of the time that they use, and then the rest on various different stories. On that day, they specifically only had like the assassination attempt. I didn't even want to mention this specific thing. Unfortunate as it is, um, my channel and what I like to speak about publicly is what people can use in their lives successfully in general. That doesn't, like psychology does, for example, or good morals and ethics and things of this nature. So yeah, it was quite surprising to see that even stable and old school as it be system like that dedicated half of, or maybe even just over half of their time to that subject. Of course, it's significant and it's terrible, but hey, now I'll get into maybe some of the reasons why this sort of stuff happens. And um, I think to some degree, some of us admit it, others don't. It took me a long while to admit it, and I'm glad that I did it, being that it is driving us somewhat crazy. And when you admit that, then you take steps to make yourself better, such as, first of all, getting knowledge of uh, psychology, philosophy, so on and so forth. And even whether that you like it or not, it helps if you know the subjects that are being used, such as politics, such as art. Art was a big one. It is a big one. Like, I know it can be literally a venting tool for the artists, but is it really um, like helping others? I guess for the good artists that create like quote unquote healing songs and healing art, that's great. But how many just vent out and then it doesn't really help? I learned from psychologists and how people that work in institutions, there in public institutions, they get free debriefing and psychology hours every week because others come and unload on them so much that it rubs off on them. So then they need to vent that out in some way, shape, or form themselves. So yeah, it would be great to have a beautiful life and yeah, I don't know, vent out through some form of art that doesn't impact anyone, and leave it at that. But yeah, in my humble opinion and solution that I've had was to make videos, private videos that I end up deleting most of the time, which is, I guess, less crazy than talking in the mirror or something, right? But it sure does help. I guess the part of probably 50% or something, other than the other side of the solutions that psychologists and so on, counselors provide you with, it's also the listening part, just listening to what you have to say, what is pressing on your soul, as it be. So, leaving that there, uh, yeah, like the politics being so in your face these days, you can't escape it really, has really made me think about other things, that what are the other components to our society, and what other things are making us, giving us such a hard time. Obviously, some more than the others, aka the guy that went and pulled the gun on on the candidate. Absolute lunacy, right? And much respect to Professor Sam Vagnon for getting into the like black and white thinking mentality, and so on and so forth. Um, and yeah, it's very unfortunate, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's taking a small toll at least on everyone's quality of life. And I'm not talking specifically when elections are on, because this is historically, it's always been more stress and all manner of things like that around election times. But in general, it seems like, yeah, to think back, as we back in the day, it was like a bit stressful the way it is when there is campaigns, especially if you follow news, things like this. I guess there's people that live out in the woods or in the country, and they don't turn the TV on or buy newspapers or whatever, or go on their news feed, and they just go about taking care of their farm or whatever it is, and they're not really going to hear about it. It's not really going to change much. But the people that live in, the functioning society, as it be, sure do see this, and it almost seems, and I have been saying this ever since about 2016, how it's almost as if since then the election cycle or the election um, mechanisms never switch off. So normally, back in the days, they'd switch on, I don't know, 6 months beforehand, and you'd get your little stresses and, oh, who are you going to vote for, and this and that. And then sort of from like 2016 up till today, it's as if that mechanism never switched off. Normally, you'd switch on for 6 months, then it'd switch off. You'd get a break for 3.5 years or whatever it is. Policy wouldn't really be changed like all the time, or all manner of like emotional, or how else can you describe it? Changing of rules, regulations, policies. Sometimes it seems like they do things whether to help themselves or just emotional. Like emotional, not like rational, and to for the betterment of society or something, right? And the best ones obviously do it in such a way so that it looks on the face of it like that's what they're doing. And anyways, I won't get into the details of that, as a bit of wasting of time if you are ask me. But the key point that I mean, we've had people arguing and having conflicts and wars and whatnot for a very long while. Um, Now, what makes modern society, or what should make us better than the cavemen, is our abilities to create solutions, communicate, so on and so forth, and no longer have to use violence as a primary means of conflict solution, or like even that, and even using that as a process of thinking is not a very solution oriented style of thinking. Like someone that is solution oriented and that believes that we live in a society where the rest of us are solution oriented, they use communication and means of creating something that works, right? At the end of the day, if you have to share something, you share it. You know, if it's land, right? I mean, that being the most obvious one that can create some difficulties, right? And how, incorrect is it from a psychology standpoint where even the ones that submit and, accept the lesser, um, part, if it is to share, then even they are considered, I mean, they still pursue, bad behavior towards them and stuff. Like that is just, that's yet another bit of evidence that proves that overall mental health has been on the decline. Or if you like, thinking, creating and coming up with solutions over employing the bad tools from going and digging up the hatchet, as it be. That's always there, but I mean, and the way that this is happening is because, in my humble opinion, the technology and the new ways of thinking are moving too fast, too fast. So then there's always slight problems that get, so even if there might be a solution adopting a certain technology, having it used too quick, whether it could even be a diet instead of you know something that is pure technology like a cell phone or whatever, right? Or a, what I would really like is a full man side, like full people sized air drone that I can get into and fly around. Now that would be absolutely great. But again, if we were all to have something like that, how would we? How much catastrophe would happen if we weren't to let it sit there and come up with sets of rules, regulations, tests. All right, get your license. I guess it wouldn't be much more different than flying a helicopter, right? So I guess those people would almost automatically, that are qualified to do that, would almost have the qualifications for that. But in that sort of sense, how fast have not only the implementation of computers, at least, if not people, collecting data or surveilling, monitoring things, coupled with people trying out all sorts of new things. It's almost like trying diets, trying different sports, so on and so forth, is almost like an addiction to some people. And me, I've been lucky to humble myself by wanting to just come to terms and really get down to the bottom, as they say, with who I am and what's going on inside my mind and all of that sort of stuff. And you can't possibly do that without having some form of humbleness and putting a lot of things secondary. And even some of the things that are essential to some degree, luckily, they're not irreversible, and I can still have a chance at doing those things, hopefully. And the good thing about that is that at least when I go to do something like whether it's something very simple like a job or something more complicated like starting a family, at least I have the basics, at least in terms of knowledge. If I don't have the super financial security and the Superman body and all of that, at least I have some form of knowledge that helps in creating some security and stability, not only for myself, but for those around me. So, on that note, yeah, maybe it's time for all of us to treat technology with more care in terms of what it does, and how much it can radicalize us. Just I mean, a quick example like that is if you got children. I remember when I was a child, and if there's some new toy that is the greatest thing, right? And everyone fights for it and all of this, and sometimes it can get nasty. It can get nasty, you know, and then the adults step in and all of that. But what about when we're adults, and all of that? We have to, you know, have that parent as a be within our own selves, and I'm sure we all do. It's even genetic, but we have to activate that. I guess that is part of becoming mature, um, and it can both be a good thing and a bad thing because you find it more and more difficult to not be at least slightly upset about all the shortcomings, at least in terms of friendships and even relationships with family. I mean, like, let's face it, if you were to be able to, I don't know, read some books, so on and so forth, have some therapy, and then go see your parents, your mother and your father, so on and so forth, and you are like the same or more mature, maybe with even better solution oriented than them, there's gonna be some, you know, loss of, how should we put it, understanding, loss of, yeah, yeah, it becomes very difficult to associate with people correctly. And just as I've messaged someone online that's significant, and I mean, for them to have good health and all of that, we should all take into account the popularity aspect of life and how I, for one, don't, at least on that one, I don't need to test it out firsthand and to really seek out to become super popular, this and that, to then want to dial it down a bit and not have the ability to do so. And from what I've seen, a lot of times, it actually just turns into notoriety or whatever you want to call it. Like, you go from hero to bad guy, and that's terrible, and I hope that popular people and people that are super famous and all of that, that are big public figures, all the perks, all the benefits, the extra benefits that they get, money, so on, maybe good service, all of that is at least bringing some value, in their life, because I'm sure that, having to cater, because when you're very popular, it's no longer a matter of choice, is there. When you have to cater to a large amount of people, you do sacrifice a lot of yourself and, your privacy, so on and so forth. So I'll leave it on that note. And yeah, I hope people, use things as correct as possible with a, how should we put it, um, humble and mature approach. The way that I'm glad that I see um, the United States of America and Russia and the Chinese and the rest of the countries in the East have held back from using nuclear weapons, and I hope it stays that way. And they look after themselves and their loved ones. And at the end of the day, all of us, knowing that they have capabilities to destroy the world. So just how they can do that, how about the rest of us stop, harming others at the end of the day? And yeah, go and check out my video on harmful entertainment. I think we're at a point where surely, slowly but surely, if we don't change the trends, maybe not myself, maybe not the likes of Professor Sam Vaknin and many others, Richard Grant, and so on and so forth, might not go, fully insane, but it sure is taking a toll even on some of us that know what, you know, bad mental health is and how it comes and how to make yourself better and so on and so forth. It's all the best out there. Cheers. I don't even know how to use this app. Let's see.